So today is Safer Internet Day, and of course the increase in the number of young people spending time on the internet, on their mobile phones because they're busy with online schooling, that's really gone up. So there is a greater emphasis for parents and stakeholders to be more vigilant in protecting children from online predators. So we're joined now by Emma Sadlier, who is a social media law specialist. Emma, thank you so much for your time today on the Midday Report. Today is Safer Internet Day. What do we need to be doing to make sure that our kids are safer on the internet when they're spending so much time online doing online learning?
Yeah, well, I'm so grateful that you're talking about this because it's such an important topic. And, you know, I've been saying for years, no screen time under the age of X and no smartphones under the age of 13. And I'm afraid all that advice had to go right out the window with online schooling because these kids really don't have a choice. And parents don't have a choice. And parents are trying to work from home and keep their children busy so that they can actually get some work done. So we are seeing an incredibly big increase in kids spending time on their screens. And I think that, you know, it's one of those things that we need to just educate ourselves, learn what the risks are, learn how to keep our children as safe as possible, and educate them. So we should be educating our children. We should be invoking as many technical responses as we can. By that I mean sort of making sure that children aren't on apps that they shouldn't be, that you've put sort of parental software on the phones and tablets that they're using so that as far as possible they can't stumble across inappropriate material. But I'm afraid, as I've been saying for years, the internet has no shallow end. So once these kids are online, they're online and they are going to come across inappropriate material and dodgy people. And we need to teach them how to respond when that happens.
So in your view, Emma, do you think that schools are doing enough at the moment to educate our kids about this dodginess and what to look out for? Should it be part of the curriculum? And is it?
Yeah, it has to be a part of the curriculum. A lot of schools have it in the life orientation program. But to be honest, these teachers, especially with online schooling, are so stretched. And I can tell you, because it is my full-time job, it's a full-time job keeping on top of all the new developments, all the new apps, what the risks are, what the issues are. You know, I'm on the ground, so I see things develop as they develop. And I'm just thinking of, for example, the last couple of weeks, the outrage we've seen with WhatsApp. And I spoke to a school yesterday and I asked the kids who were in grade 8, whose parents came home and said they can't use WhatsApp anymore. And a lot of them put up their hands and said they must be using Telegram. Now, Telegram has its own set of issues and the age restriction on Telegram is actually 16. So I think often, you know, parents are trying their best, but it's a bit of a knee-jerk reaction. So there are great resources out there. I think it's got to be primarily a parenting issue rather than a school issue. As much as the schools are trying, I think they can kind of teach general principles, but the sort of the day-to-day functioning of the internet and what your children are seeing, I think that has to be primarily a parenting responsibility. And there are great resources out there. I'm thinking of Common Sense Media, which is a website, an international website. They have parental guides for just about all the apps. There's another website called Bark, B-A-R-K, which also has wonderful parental guidelines for just about every app, every device, what the issues are. And then, learning about what South Africa says particularly about social media and our children, what the legal consequences are, the disciplinary consequences are, how we should be looking after our children's reputation. And I think that there are resources out there, and I think that parents just need to get involved.
Obviously, it does fall to the parents, but what does the legislative framework look like in the country? I know the police have got a great cybersecurity unit, but are there laws there to back up the protection that the parents need for their kids online?
No, I think the short answer is that law enforcement is ill-equipped to deal with the kinds of issues that we're seeing. We've also got huge trans-jurisdictional issues. By that I mean often we've got a problem with Facebook or Instagram or WhatsApp, and we try and go to those companies, well, that company, Facebook in particular, with those issues. And there's just so much red tape, and they say go to Silicon Valley if you want to try and bring any legal action. You know, one of the biggest fights that I have on an ongoing basis, Mandy, is anonymity. I think the root of a lot of evil online is anonymity. So dealing with these companies, when we don't have sufficiently equipped law enforcement to hold these companies to account. You know, if you're in a country where law enforcement works, you can go and lay a criminal charge against, for example, a fake Instagram account who has created pornographic pictures of your child, because there's a lot of image-based violence, or is cyberbullying your child, and we want to know what identifying information Facebook, because Facebook owns Instagram, has on that account. Facebook will do pretty much anything within their power not to hand over that information. They really don't want to be accountable. Now, if I was in a country where law enforcement works, I could go and lay a criminal charge, and there'd be a sort of a police hotline request to Facebook in America to obtain that information. And as far as I know, the SAPS in South Africa has never actually successfully obtained that information. So often we have to rely on more technical means, you know, finding forensic investigators who can dig around and see what they can find and hopefully find out who's behind those accounts. So there is law, you know, we've got criminal laws in South Africa. Interesting, last year, Mandy, the minimum age of criminal capacity was increased from 10 years old to 12 years old. Now, what that means is, you know, we see these kind of cases like Adam Katsavalis and Vicky Momberg, people being charged with criminal injuria. We can charge teenagers in the extreme cyberbullying cases with criminal injuria and infringement of dignity if they're involved in extreme cyberbullying online. And as I say, up until last year, the minimum age was 10. That has been increased to 12. So we've sort of got issues around criminal injuria. We've got issues around sexting, whether or not the law provides sufficient protection for teenagers. I don't think so. I think that consensual sexting between teens should be legalized. At the moment, all sexting between teenagers is considered child pornography, distribution of child pornography, and then we see a lot of victim blaming. We've got new sort of revenge porn law, but we're waiting for regulations. So basically the law is playing catch up, and in many instances, it's, I'm afraid, just a little bit too slow.
Fascinating insights there. Emma Sadlier, social media law specialist. Thank you so much for sharing your time and your insights with us. Today is Safer Internet Day, so make sure that you are up to speed, that you visit those resources and you know what the dangers are for your kids online.